course not, right? Silly question, really. No matter what side you're on by now, you know not to trust the government. But somehow, they're still ruling over our lives. How is that? Well, maybe we're not clear on just who and what our government is. Start with, government is corruption. But who is government? Well, we share the same government, same federal government, correct? Like we all know who the top dogs are who are violating us every day. But what about the real violations that are affecting us? What about the local level? As an example, here in Defiance County, we expected Andy Griffith. Instead, we got Doug Engel. Well, you know, there's some problems there. Doug Engel works for the state against the people, in violation of the people. It's true. And I gotta tell you, next time one of them Barney Fives pulls a gun on me for no reason, well, you feel me? So, problem is when we don't identify our local government correctly, our servants, the people we pay to protect our rights, we can't ignore our rights. When we do, our lives get ruined. Take my case for an example. That's why my videos are starting. Now, my case is still going on, and so I'm going to show you the sheriff's department, along with the prosecutor, along with even the judge, and even my lawyer, and even my employer, conspired against my rights. Put me into the shape I'm in right now, losing everything. We need to take our rights a whole lot more serious, because when they're violated, these are the kinds of things that happen. And we need to start standing up to it, because the more people stand up to it, the more this stuff stops. What we don't understand about the government is we're all concerned about all the violations going on up at the top. Stuff that most of us are powerless to do anything about. Meanwhile, we're being violated every day by our local politicians, our local servants. They work for us, we pay them, but they're ruling over us and ruining our lives. We got a big misunderstanding against rules and laws and what they really are. Your rules don't apply to me. That's just plain and simple. As long as I'm not bothering nobody, I'm living my life, your rules do not override my constitutional rights. And we need to start understanding that and making that clear. But whether or not you live in Ohio or wherever you live, you're going to want to pay attention, because the violations that are happening here are happening everywhere. Our public servants have reversed the roles and think that they rule over us. They use fake laws to ruin our lives. We got some people's cases that have hit the news, but I'm going to show you how that's a sham too. How the media is protecting our people, our servants in government. They're protecting them from us. Not telling you what to do about it. They're not on your side. I have a video coming out next couple of days for Rob Schaefer's case here in Defiance. Rob's somebody I already knew for a while, and he contacted me before I even made public what was going on here. And him and I talked a little bit. If you're not familiar with his case, that's this here.
11 investigates a scary story out of Defiance. It's scary because of what happened to an innocent man, and it could easily happen to you. You may see this as a story of vengeance, discrimination, maybe even some mistakes by police. Rob Schaefer was just doing his job for DoorDash when he was arrested and charged with a crime he didn't commit. His name was in the local paper. He was fired from his jobs, and he thought about suicide. So how did this happen? Rob complied with the law. He told the truth. But it wasn't enough, and it took months to clear his name. And when he did, no one seemed to pay any attention until 11 Investigates started asking questions and found out what to do if this happens to you.
Now I want you to pay attention to what their preview, Toledo 11, their preview says nobody cared until 11 Investigates started asking the questions, and that's a lie. I was already asking the questions, and 11 Investigates, I'm going to prove, didn't even ask the right questions. They don't care. And they also said to follow along and watch, because they're going to tell you what you can do if this happens to you. And I'm going to prove that that's not true too. What happened to Rob is wrong, and we're going to break down his case. In a couple of days, a video will be coming out, and that's going to be the first official video. I got no recourse, so now I'm going to teach others how to claim your freedom, how to remove immunity from the officers or any public servant that violates your rights. We're going to remove their what they call qualified immunity, and when you do it properly, you prove that they didn't have no qualified immunity, and you go after their bond. Started meeting with some of the people around here who came forward with their violations. And now, for a moment, I have to put that on hold. I currently have no vehicle. I lost my vehicle. And now I was going to bring people to my home to do the interviews, but that's not going to happen, as they just sent me my foreclosure. This is what happens, all of this, because I was violated. My rights were violated. Nobody's standing up for me because I'm not in a special class of citizenship, meaning I'm not whatever, but I'm going to show you how we're going to fight back. I spent the last 9 months of my life, day and night, literally day and night, 9 months of my life, studying the law because my lawyer hung me out to dry. And I'm going to prove all this. I have all the documentation, all the proof I need to connect the dots. The sheriff's violated my rights. The prosecutor allowed it, ignored my innocence, and held to the violation of my rights. The judge then added to the violation of my rights, unlawfully threw me out of my own home. My lawyer had the case pretty much handed to him, had everything he needed to beat my case, ignored it, tried to convince me that there was evidence that I would be found guilty, so I should take a deal. When it was all said and done, I found all the proof I needed. There was no victim. There was nobody claiming to be a victim, nobody coming out against me. And they led me to believe there was. They made me to believe there was. They violated my rights. My lawyer ignored all that. When they seen I was fighting it, they cut my employment. And I can prove that. My employer sided with them to keep me from being able to finance going forward. So when I realized all this, I took what money I had, paid some people to help me get this investigation started, and got a report published out there on mediadefiance.org. So you can go there, find out more about it. You can go to my website, americauncensored.net, and these YouTubes, of course. Going forward, I'm taking all these local cases, finding the violations in them. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't recommend one, but I am not giving you legal advice. I am going to teach you how to defend yourself without a lawyer. I'm going to show you how you can even, many times, have your case dropped before even stepping foot into the courtroom. I'm going to teach you this. I have a lot of valuable information coming out, and the problem is, I'm losing everything I got. So I need to get subscribers and viewers, and I need to make it worth. I'm trying to release this information for free because it took me 9 months, and even still I'm studying more, but I'm gonna teach you the things I'm learning, how to file your motions, how to do all your stuff without a lawyer, how to remove immunity, how to win, how to make your public servants properly serve you, and that's what we're here doing. this is good for even the public servants to watch my videos, because you're going to learn how you should be acting and how you are sworn to uphold our constitutional rights. And if you do not, you are in violation and you can be sued for that. And I'm going to teach you all this stuff, how to do this. A lot of good stuff coming out, but a lot of important information. So it will take me a while to get to some of that, because as I said, it's very valuable information, but I'm not trying to turn this into pay courses and stuff like that. I'm trying to make this available free, because the problem is it shouldn't be so hard to fight back for our rights. And really, it's a little easier than you think. You need a little bit of education. It's not that hard. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, all of this is for only your education and entertainment. I am not, as I said, giving legal advice. I am not a lawyer. And I'll be the first to tell you you're making a mistake when you hire one from the area, wherever you're at. Do not hire a local lawyer, and do not take a deal. If you're innocent, never take a deal. Okay, I understand there's a lot of people out there right now that, you know, they don't want to wait for the answers, but I'm sorry, I just can't give them out to, you know, just, and you got all the answers. It takes time getting to that, and I want to do it properly. And so that's my plan. But we have, I give you a few tips. One, it should be known by now, do not communicate with the police. Do not communicate with the police. Whatever happens, something's going down and you end up, something's going on with the police, and suddenly they're violating your rights, and you're, I know my rights, I know my rights. Well, the problem is maybe you do, but they don't. And we got to teach them. So until things start getting, moving along better, as these videos come out, as things start moving along, they're going to start learning their rights. We'll see a lot less violations, but we got a lot of work ahead until that happens. In the meantime, there's about 400 of these laying around through Defiance County. If you see one of these, pick it up and keep it. It's yours for free, and this is your right. We'll get more into this later, but what you'll do with this, you run into confrontation with public servant, first thing you're going to do is hand this to them. And, you know, and it's going to take a little bit, but, you know, after this gets around a few times, they're going to start understanding. As soon as they see this, they're going to know not to violate your rights. If you don't see one laying around, if you see me out and about in the area, hit me up. I'll gladly just give you one. If you're not in the area, I can send you one, but yeah, I'll require a $2 donation to the Cash App, and you leave your address and I'll just mail it right out to you. The Cash App's America Uncensored. So the best way you can help is subscribe to this channel and share my videos, and let's get the word out there. And as you'll see in the next coming videos, they'll be informative and you'll learn a good deal of information. The case we're going to talk about in a few days coming out is going to be Rob Schaefer's case. And even if you know of his case, if you've heard about it, what you're going to hear from me is not, you'll be surprised. So even if you know about his case, check out the video when it comes out, because you'll learn a lot. There's a lot of people that's being violated in the same way, and it's time to fight back. I documented a lot ever since all this went down. What happened with me is started in November, but technically started in the summer of 21. 3 times, minding my own business, the police showed up to my house. Now, people that know me around here, and it's been known the government's not allowed on my property. You stay the hell off my property, you got no business here. Well, they made 3 excuses. 3 times they made excuses to show up. One time they come here, show up, and make an excuse that because they were looking for my son. Well, the funny thing is, they just put him in, he was sitting in their jail. So I knew, you know, they were pulling some excuse. I told them to get the fuck out of here. 3rd time in July, they showed up at, pulled in my driveway as I was coming back from my mailbox. And they pull up in my driveway and claim that somebody from my residence called 911. Well, officer, it's funny that I'm the only one who lives here, and I'm the only one here. You see nobody else here, and I sure as hell didn't call you to my property. Get the fuck out of here. That's how that went down. Well, that made me, I have reasons. they won't hit you as hard as they hit me. They might or they might not, but other things I've been involved in would give them reasons to want to pry into me. So I got paranoid. You know, I want to protect everyone I know, because I know how they operate. So I cut myself off from everyone and everything and just cut myself out. No longer having friends come over to visit, no longer going out and doing anything. I was going only to work in the home and once a week to the store. Literally, that's how my life started operating, starting in the summer of 21. That's how my life, I had to live it. Sure enough, November come along and they falsely arrested me for domestic violence with no victim, no evidence of a crime. I was at work. They came to my work, arrested me. I went to jail and I got out of jail. The next morning before I got out of jail, I had a video conference with the judge, and the judge unlawfully, with no proper code, ordered me out of my own home. I own my home. He had no right to order me out of it, but he did. Okay, this was a violation of my rights. So then I was allowed out of jail, and later that day I went to my brother's house, which is, you know, down the road from my house, but you know, I got to find a place to stay. And I'm at my brother's house talking to him, and I look out the window and there's a sheriff's car parked behind my truck. I leave my brother's house, this sheriff pulls me over, comes running up to being stupid, unlawfully pulled me over for no reason. I had a bag of clothes in my truck, took my clothes from me. To this day, a year now, they've had my clothes and refused to give them. They said my clothes is evidence that I was in my house. We'll get into all of that. These were complete violations and lies, and I will name all of them. Even my employer, when I tried to fight it, they fired me. And they are connected to my employer, has several members on the city council. And so anyways, I got all the documentation to prove it, and I will. And that's coming out later. I can't get too much into my case right now because I'm still fighting it. And this is ridiculous, almost a year later with no evidence and no victim. And I'm losing everything because of this. Literally because of this. This time last year, I was starting projects on my home, my pool, 2 rooms in my house. I was starting projects. Then, you know, suddenly I get arrested. I'm thrown out of my house, and I was homeless, living in my vehicle for almost 4 months. And my lawyer knew this and ignored it. Never fought for me to get back in my home that I alone had a claim to. And never fought for my innocence that he had complete proof of. Ignored the violation of my rights that he had complete proof of, and I'll prove all of this, like I said, coming up. But as I said, my case is still going on right now. In a few days, it's going to be heard in the appeals court. I had to appeal it because they refused to. I'll get into all that, but you know, I had to appeal it, and now when the appeal is done, then it puts it back into this court. And the truth is, the prosecutor in my case, which is the same in the case I'm going to talk about, Rob's, is Troy Essex. And he's a little chicken shit, okay, because he took me on with my lawyer, who was busy giving him hand jobs. He immediately tried to shut it down when I realized what happened and took it over myself and said I'm going to defend myself. He won't do it. He won't take me on. He's afraid because he knows I'll spank his ass and send him crying to his mom. That's where we're at with that. So please help out and support. Please share this video. Please subscribe. And that's my point of this video today, get you to subscribe. And my best intentions is to keep it free, but I got to get subscribers. I got to get enough views out there to try to make it where I can monetize this without trying to charge the people who need the help, because the truth is, those of us who need this help can't afford it. Like in my case, I was fine financially this time last year. I'm now down to nothing, but that's where I'm at now. And I need to fight back, and I need to try to save my own ass, and that's what I've been trying to do. But I'm going to teach you how to do the same. I'm going to teach you how to fight back without a lawyer, how to win your case without a lawyer. There's a lot of things. We're all being violated every day. This ain't just about police abuse. It's about all kinds of political abuse, and you're public servants, and we're going to make them start working for us. Thanks for checking out the video, and I invite you to please subscribe and hit the notification so you catch the one coming out about Rob's case coming out in a few days. We're going to break down 11 Investigates. We're going to break down their investigation, and I'm going to show you the real problem and how to fight back. Thanks.